Now that you are
now.
a little bit over a year into playing Abby,
Oh, wow. Yeah.
is there a part of her that you've like kind of struggled with to kind of tap into at first that you feel more comfortable with now?
I think I may be more vulnerable than Abby is in a way. So truly finding her strength and like the levels this year has been, I guess, a challenge for me. Like her strength, not just. I think in the beginning of last season there was a lot of disbelief.
Right.
Once you get past that and you start moving towards the goal, there has to be strength to move forward. And I think finding that has actually affected me as a person, as an actor, the whole shebang. So that's been the thing. Like, how do you really, like, what is really having the courage to face a demon or your demons or your issues and all that kind of stuff? And because the show is grounded in sort of like a psychological reality, I have to go there in order to make it believable.
No.
Since there are like bobblehead monsters bouncing around, you got to ground it in other ways.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, season 1 delivered so many shocks, and I think the audience didn't see a lot of them coming. Is the tone kind of similar for season 2, or do you feel like they kind of had to shift it in order to not try to get too over the top themselves?
It's still over the top.
Excellent.
It's supposed to be.
Excellent. I mean, you got to have this horseman. You can't.
It's what it is.
Yeah.
It's the world of the show, and I think it even gets a little bit more ridiculous, to be completely honest. But because of that, we have to go deeper.
Yeah.
So in every way, it just intensifies, and I think that ought to be interesting for the audience. Hopefully, they'll still roll with us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We have a new world. Not a new world, but the world is filling out. We have new cast members, and everyone is coming with their own bag of tricks and their own set of issues that complicates the Crane-Abby relationship and complicates fighting the apocalypse, or fighting Moloch.
Yeah. Well, Heather had teased that we're going to learn a little bit more about Abby's mother. Was it just a one episode thing, or is the thread kind of going along from what you filmed so far?
I've only done one episode with it, but I know that there's more coming. And what is revealed is very shocking. Like, it's very shocking, but it also explains a little bit more why she's a witness and what some of the other strengths that she has that she still doesn't. On top of like getting through all of this, she realizes that there's more, which is great. I mean, like, just think of that. The idea, I love the idea that like, no matter how far you get, there's always more to you. There's always more that you don't realize is there. And I think that's a really interesting theme for all the characters to explore. But specifically, it's just something that I've been ruminating on a lot, that the show's given me. It's really cool.
Yeah. And we don't know in what state Lindy will come beyond the show, but we do know that she is still with the show.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, we can probably maybe guess a little bit, but then again, John Cho was dead in an entire.
People die, but
people
they come back.
They come back in inventive ways.
Corbin.
Yes, Corbin.
Corbin's been around a little bit.
It's the actor security for Sleepy Hollow. Even death, even beheading, nothing is going to really keep you from the show.
You don't get to leave.
No. Once you're in, it's like a cult. Once you're in, you're never out.
Oh my God.
But in a good way. So what can you kind of tease about what the sisters will be going through this season?
I think finding out about the family, the history, is big. Also, they just have different ways of doing things. So now that they're on the same team, the way that they do things, you'll see a lot more about who they are as people. I think it's really interesting. And perhaps people from the past will come into the situation and complicate their sisterhood a little bit.
Bounty hunter?
I don't know. We gotta see. Everyone's assuming it's like him, but I'm like, there are a few new people who sort of are viable interests. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, you guys have done well, at least in season 1, where you added people on and it felt so cohesive. So is it a little weird adding these people on in season 2 when you're like, we went through this whole thing in season 1 and now there are strangers coming on?
No, because it was like every other episode we had new monsters or demons to fight, so it's nice to have like a collective of people to bounce things off of, and it really just makes it more complicated because now we know Henry is a bad guy. Who else is doing dirt? You know, we got a new sheriff, we got this bounty hunter, we have, you know, old relatives. All these different people are coming into our lives, or people that have already been there that you don't know where they stand.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the great thing about it.
Well, speaking of monsters, what can you tease about the creatures you've fought so far in season 2?
I fought a musical monster.
Did you really?
I've done some things in water. I've jumped over trees. I mean, it's been fun. I don't want to give it away, but it's been a lot of fun. They're very creative, and the monsters. The great thing is that the monsters this year are more personal. They're not just, you know, we're going to make this monster, it's going to be about this, based on this story and history. They're all, like, about Crane's past or mine in some way. They all affect us personally, so, yeah.